Fantastic. All right. Hi, everyone. This is Don Farber with DataSelf, joined by Joni Girardi, founder and CEO of DataSelf. We'll be talking today about Acumatica and specifically how to make better, more informed business decisions. And I'm going to kick things off with a little bit of an introduction. First of all, we'll be with you for about 30 minutes. I'll be taking you through most of the initial business level conversation. Then I'll be turning things over to my colleague, Joni, who will be taking us through a product demo. We will do our best to leave a couple minutes at the end for Q&A. If you have any questions as we're going through the presentation or demo, please do feel free to type them into the chat session in the meeting, and we'll do our best to answer them. We'll also be sending around a follow-up email after this presentation, and any questions that went unanswered will be answered within that email. Right. A little bit about us here at DataSelf. As I said, my colleague on the phone with us today is Joni Girardi. DataSelf's been around since 2005, and since that date, our focus has always been on technologies that enable clients to make more timely and more informed business decisions. The technology behind that is kind of a unique trilogy, or perhaps trinity, of functionality. First, it uses a next generation data optimization tool. It blends that with industry leading business intelligence technologies and wraps that all up in a template library, the largest, in fact, that exists today in the analytics world. We'll be talking more about those technologies a little bit later on in this presentation. For right now, I'd like to start out by turning this slide over to my colleague, Joni, to talk about those challenges that you may be having in reporting out of Acumatica. Joni.
Thank you, Don. Yeah, when people move to Acumatica, there's a lot of good momentum, a lot of companies leaving old legacy systems and going to Acumatica. One of the things that many organizations need is a more empowering reporting platform for managers. As Don will be saying shortly, managers need to have the macro and micro view into their data, slice and dicing anytime and anywhere. And even though Acumatica has an amazing reporting platform, when it comes to decision makers, it's not as easy, it's not as fast, it's not as intuitive. And we add that layer. We have many companies using DataSelf, including Acumatica, for their own reporting and analytics. And hopefully you'll find this webinar some information checking if you also should be looking at it. Don, back to you.
Thanks so much, Joni. All right, now you might have just heard Joni refer to or make an allusion to two kinds of reports or two kinds of report audiences within an organization. So I'd like to start out by talking about those two kinds of reports. The first kind are what are called staff-oriented reports, and I like to refer to that as the little picture of your business, and it's why we use the microscope here as our analogy. Staff-oriented reports are those reports that focus on task completion, that is, keeping your staff informed about what they need to do now. And in fact, it goes a little bit beyond that. It also reports on what has been done in the past, yesterday, last week, last month, as well as what is coming down the pike, what needs to be done tomorrow, next week, or next month. And good examples of these staff-oriented reports are things like today's shipments, stock status report, AR aging, and invoices processed today. Now, as Joni mentioned, Acumatica does a really superb job in terms of its reports addressing these staff-oriented needs. And in fact, in ERP solutions in general, this is what you get with an ERP application's standard reports. But then there's the other side of the coin, management-oriented reports. Now, the focus of these reports is on decision-making. It's all about giving management and executives the key performance indicators, or KPIs, that tell them not only what has happened in their business, but why it's happened, and allow them to make more informed, high-level business decisions, changing directions in different parts of the business in order to ensure your organization the greatest chance of success going forward. Now, good examples of these management-oriented reports are things like high-risk receivables debt, inventory projection, sales rep growth analysis, negative cash flow, and year-over-year variance. We really tend to refer to these as providing the big picture view of your business, and that's why we use the telescope image here. And in fact, it is these big picture decision-making reports that is typically what you get with an analytics solution. Now that begs the question, if you've got these two kinds of reports, and out of Acumatica, you're getting these nice task-oriented reports, why can't you use those and simply apply them to what management needs? And the answer here is actually a fairly simple one: technology. The technology is substantially different between staff-oriented and management-oriented reports. And as the current slide builds, you'll see that management-oriented reports include features like a scalable data warehouse, simply because there's more data that needs to be considered by management before they can make the most informed decisions. The retrieval of data, not in hours, not reports that need to run overnight, but reports that retrieve their data in just a few seconds. Infinite drill down, going from the highest or macro level view of data into the transactional level detail. Natural language or Google-like searching, predictive and what if reporting, looking into the future. What if I rearrange my sales territories? What if I increase the amount of inventory for these items? And also certainly KPI-based alerts, because management needs to make decisions now. They can't wait, in some cases hours and certainly not days, to reach certain conclusions. And finally, and although this is last, it's certainly not least, data blending. Because although we're focused on Acumatica today, your organization does not exist solely on its ERP solution. Perhaps you've got a CRM, you've got third-party add-ons, you've got Excel spreadsheets. That data needs to be blended together to give management the greatest wealth of information to base their decisions on. And in fact, it is the management level reporting needs that DataSelf Analytics addresses. And on the current slide, I want to draw your attention first to the extreme left-hand column titled Limited Visibility, as these are your typical management level business pains that organizations face. And what DataSelf Analytics does, if we skip over to the extreme right-hand section of this slide, is provide that visibility to address these high-level business pains. So, we've talked about the importance of management-oriented reports, and we've talked about some of the technology that supports management-level reporting. So the next question we should address is, well, what makes DataSelf's analytics solution different from other analytics solutions? And in fact, there are three key items. The first of which is data optimization. We've talked about the wealth of data that needs to be considered for managers to make the most informed business decisions. Well, DataSelf is the only analytics solution that gives you a next generation data optimization tool with our ETL plus technology married to a SQL Server data warehouse. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, the average report dashboard coming out of DataSelf runs in well under 1 minute. You'll see examples of these when Joni jumps into our demo in just a moment or two. But the second difference, top-rated BI engines. Now, I don't know if you spent a lot of time researching or looking into business intelligence technologies, but consistently rated the top two technologies for years and years now are two solutions, Tableau and Microsoft Power BI. DataSelf is the only analytics solution that gives you the choice of using either of these two solutions. And to me, the important quality there is not only that they're top rated in terms of functionality, but these are two solutions that have been around for years and they're going to be around for years. You need to invest in technologies that are not going to change or all of a sudden disappear from the horizon. And finally, the most robust analytics library in the industry today. In fact, we have a library of over 8,000 reports and dashboards. We refer to these as templates. Now, don't let that 8,000 number scare you, because certainly a small fraction of that is applicable to Acumatica, but this library covers ERP solutions, CRM solutions, other solutions. Because the matter of fact is, as good as any analytics or BI technology is, you don't want to bring that into your organization and then have to face process of creating 10, 20, 40 or more dashboards and reports. We've been at this since 2005. We've gathered these 8,000 plus templates from real live customer implementations. So you get basically a ready-to-go solution upon completion of the DataSelf analytics implementation. Okay, so you've heard a lot about the solution. Now it's time to actually see it. And at this point, I'm going to turn the proceedings over to Joni to show you the DataSelf analytics solution in action.
Thank you, Don. Can you hear me and can you see mouse moving?
Certainly can, Joni. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. So what I'm going to be showing is the main focus of today's webinar is how we empower managers, decision makers, business users to be more independent, to find answer to their questions anytime and anywhere. Next month, we're going to have a webinar for business analysts, the people who support decision makers. But today, the goal is business users. And I'm going to show a few examples of how DataSelf can help ad hoc questions. You know, there's no answer pre-configured to answer those questions, and how business users can find answers in Acumatica anytime and anywhere using DataSelf. The first way is using what is called natural language query. And it's pretty much, you just need to know English. So middle school is required in English. But if you know English and you know your business, it's like Google. You ask a question and you get an instant, accurate answer to that question. I'll show a couple of examples. Let's see, I want to see sales by salesperson in 2022. I just wrote the question, and if you notice, the tool uses natural language query, artificial intelligence, machine learning to translate what the human wrote into a query, into query parameters. I don't care. I just write in English and I press enter. And the tool will instantly, accurately show, in this case, by salesperson, it shows sales in a descending order where the year is 2022. It's that simple. This report didn't exist. It was built from scratch right now. And you can keep on typing. Let's say by month, I want to drill down into the month level. Press enter. So now again, the tool answered the question. In this example, gave a line chart using colors for every salesperson, where I see the sales by month in 2022. And maybe, you know, I want to see different graphical representation. Maybe I want to see bar chart and whatnot, or maybe I'm an accountant. I want to see the numbers by the penny. You can pick and choose any option. In this example, tax table, and now I see the numbers by the penny, by salesperson, sales by month. In a couple of more clicks, I can export this to Excel, PowerPoint, whatnot, to do analysis outside of it. So natural language query is the first part of the solution that is really empowering. You only need to know English. And if you do, just like in Google, you ask the question and you'll find lots of answers anytime, anywhere, right? Like I showed you. Now, like in Google, it will not answer all the questions. So let me show the next level of ad hoc analysis that is also very powerful. I'm going to show now the slicer. The slicer is also a part of the tool designed for business users. And it's like an Excel pivot table on steroids. Inside of Acumatica, you can see in this case is a sales slicer. Right now, by customer, I see sales in a given period, and you can easily change everything. So let's say I only want to see sales by salesperson in period 2 and 3. I select period 2 and 3, first of all, so I narrow to a different period. But I don't want to see customer, I want to see salesperson. This list here is available out of the box with these options, and it's easy for a business analyst to customize this list to add, remove more parameters. Once the list is customized, a business user with little training just pick and choose. So right now I'm going to choose salesperson, and there it is. This report now shows sales by salesperson in those 2 months. All right, that was the big picture. I want to drill down and see more details. I want to see sales by salesperson by item. I can click and expand into the next column. And right now I already have item. So that was easy. By salesperson, by item, sale in those 2 months. I want to go to more detail. I want to see also to whom I sold, customers. Sure. I drill down to the next level, and now I pick the next parameter. And that's pretty much it. You can start from any point in the top column. You can drill down and just pick and choose the next parameter, and the tool keeps on giving the answer. And even the measures. When I'm looking at sales, what if I want to see gross quantity sold, gross profit? You just pick and choose, you press apply, and now in this report, I have sales and quantity sold. That's pretty much the training that it takes for a business user to learn to use a slicer. There's a lot of ways you can slice and dice the data, and it's really, really empowering to find answers to the questions anytime and anywhere. So that's the second example of how business users can be more independent. I'm going to jump now into a little bit of financials, and then I'm going to go back into some other ad hoc analysis. And right now, everything that I'm doing, I was inside of Acumatica. Yeah, many users want everything inside of Acumatica. What if you don't? What if you don't want to have access to Acumatica at all? So I'm going to show now DataSelf outside of Acumatica, and this is just a security setting. If you want to lock people inside of Acumatica and they have to be in Acumatica to get your DataSelf reports, sure. If you want to get some users access outside of Acumatica, board members, CEO, sure, it's a security setting. In this example, I'm looking at my P&L. We can do multi-company, multi-Acumatica tenant. We can do multi-currency. We can customize extensively, bringing your financials to this web portal. Now, again, very important is to allow business users to quickly find the outliers, why something is really good or too bad, and drill down to the detail. Right here, let's say if I look at this P&L and I see that this number, I don't like it. I don't like the 14,000, maybe too big or too small. How can I go to the details? In Acumatica, if you click this, it changes to a second page that you go to some high level, and you click and eventually go to the GIs, and it's kind of hard sometimes to see things around. Here, if I click on a data point, at the bottom, it will show my GL transactions. Every single GL transaction that feeds into this number is right here at my fingertips. And maybe if I want to see the next month, I just click it, and I still see my financials here, and I see the details. Maybe you want to see everything together. So this whole line together now is the whole line together. Or maybe I want to see the whole cost of goods sold. You just point and click, and dynamically, the total here of all of these transactions matches with this. And in Acumatica, if I were to click this reference number, is going to go and open Acumatica right into the document. The ability to start from the very high level, is slice and dice the data and go anywhere in DataSelf is amazingly empowering. So this is one example of ad hoc analysis that you can do using the web portal. Now, I'm going to go back again into the Acumatica and show the most popular reporting dashboard in our client base. As Don mentioned, we have over 8,000 reports and dashboards that cover ERP, CRM, and whatnot. This one is the most popular. It's kind of busy, but I'll explain the idea. The idea here is to analyze your sales this year by period, by quarter, year to date, and compare to the same period last year. That's what we call year-over-year variances. And you can easily pick, the year. Right now I'm choosing this year, but you could compare last year versus the prior year. Anyhow, so right now I'm looking this year, and I'm selecting out of the box 7 months. What if I want to see year to date through period 9? Sure. Select that, press apply. Now the report is showing year over year from a year-to-date perspective. The dark blue is this year, so total here. The light blue is last year, total here, and I see the variances. So very big numbers. Now visually, I have a drill down into the same, using the same colors, the trend analysis by period. Dark blue this year, light blue last year, and you can see how I'm growing on a seasonal perspective. Then I have another visual drill down. Now I'm seeing things by period, by state. The size of the bubble is the sales this year, and the color represents growth or decline. Like Texas in this example, I see all the numbers, including a growth of 2% since last year to date. If I check New Jersey, on the other hand, I see a decline of 1%. So visually, it's quick to see trend analysis by region. And here I have for customers and items, the total sales last year, this year, and the variance. Now, this is the telescope. I'm looking at the big picture from a year-over-year sales perspective. As a VP of sales, a sales manager, usually they look at this and they want to see the outliers and why. For instance, why Marina Golf is declining so much in sales since last year. And in this case, if I simply click on this data point, it filters the whole dashboard to show the total for this customer, the trend analysis, the ship to, and which products are driving the analysis. In Acumatica, if you go to a dashboard and you click a data point, primarily you go into the GI, from top level to the most granular, no matter what. In DataSelf, you can actually build how people navigate from one level to another to another. You have pretty much infinite ways to drill down or drill across the data because we use this business intelligence technology. Anyhow, now that I got to this perspective and I see, let's say, some products that have major decline, maybe now I actually want to see a GI-like piece of information. I want to see the details behind these 3 items. Sure, I can select those 3 items. And right now, when I chose them, the dashboard filtered again, only for Marina Grove, only for these 3 items, what the totals are. But hey, I want to see the details. So I put the mouse over and I choose show details. And now I see at the bottom all the details, the invoice number, the invoice date, the items, the quantity sold, and the sales of whatever I have selected. All the information at the bottom. And in case you want to export this information into Excel, for instance, primarily you just tell the tool, download my cross tab, and now this information goes right into Excel very quickly. Let's say you want to select the details. Download Excel, and now I got the information right into Excel. So from the big picture to the little picture, just with a few clicks without having to know technical things. Now, this user experience that I showed you so far, everything that I showed you so far is functionality that business users can do with no training or little training. As you can tell, it's point and click. What I'm going to show in the next 3 minutes is the ability to use the web report editor. So this requires more training, and quite often many business users will not learn. But those who want to learn, I want to show how easy and amazingly empowering the report editor is. So, and security also controls who can have access to the report editor. So you can tell who can, who cannot, and what they can do with the report editor. Anyhow, I'm going to show 2 use cases of changes to an out-of-the-box report. First, let's say that I don't care about customers. From an analysis standpoint, I sell to retail. I care about sales by city instead of customer. So I want to change this widget to show city sales, not customer sales. How can I do that? Well, the edit button is enabled for me because I'm a power user. And I'm going to show how easy it is to change a widget like that on the fly. So right now I am in the web report editor. It is more sophisticated, but I'm going to only go into this widget specifically. And right now the rows are being controlled by the customer. And I actually want to go and change to the customer's city instead. I drag and drop, put it on top of it, and I just start descending. And that was it. With a few clicks, I changed a dashboard that was showing sales by customer. Now it's sales by customer city. It could be anything that you have changed. It's just drag and drop, and you change the dashboard. That's it. Changed, easy. Now, what if I want to create a new report from scratch using the report editor? Again, the report editor is not for everyone, but we have many business users doing what I'm going to show you next. Is creating a new report from scratch, so new worksheet completely from scratch. I'm going to pick my revenues and build a report showing sales by customer this month from scratch. I could do it in natural language. Yes, I could, but let me show the power of the report editor. I want to have customer name. I put in my rows. So there it is, just customers. I want to see my sales. So I take sales and I drag the report. So this is simply sales by customer. I can quickly start descending. These are my top customers in the whole company history. Well, I want to see by date. I'm going to bring invoice date to my columns, drag and drop, and now I see the whole company history. I only want to see a certain year, so let's make a filter to only show this year. So I only want to see 2022. Point and click, now sales by customer only this year. I want to see this month. Well, I can easily drill down from the year to go to the quarter level and go to the month level. So there it is. I have everything by month. But hey, I just want to see 1 month. Let's make a filter for the month. There it is. And I only want to see the month of September, for instance. And there it is from scratch by customer sales in September. And now comes the easy slice and dice. I want to see for 2 years side by side. So I just pick last year and I see sales last year and this year side by side. Maybe you want to break down by product or by product line. You just drag and drop. And now it becomes very flexible to slice and dice the data in any shape or form. This web editor is amazingly empowering. And if the user can do drag and drop, point and click, it's amazing how many changes business users will be able to do without calling the consultant. And that's pretty much it, what I wanted to cover. I hope you found informative. Don, back to you.
Thanks, Joni. I think you need to perhaps stop sharing your screen. There we go. Just needed to get things back to my side of the net, so to speak. So appreciate the demo very much, Joni. And I have to tell you, it reminds me of the first time that you demoed this technology to me. And I was impressed, but I was also a little scared because I thought, wow, this is tremendous, but it's got to be out of the price range for the average mid-size or small to mid-size organization. And I was very much surprised to find that, in fact, it wasn't costing tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I wanted to share that with the folks on this webinar with us. Just some general numbers for you to work with. DataSelf Analytics comes in a few different editions, but it can be had starting at as little as just under $400 a month. And very importantly is that we customize the licensing and the pricing to each customer's requirements. We do not believe in paying for functionality or components that you don't need or won't use. But we do encourage folks to actually come to the DataSelf website to not only get more details about the different edition options and pricing, but also to actually start using DataSelf for free. So you can actually sign up for a free evaluation. It is the full functioning software, and you can try it out for 30 days and get it working with your Acumatica data right away. Now, at this point, what I wanted to do is to open up the lines for any Q&A. I know a question came in a little bit earlier from one person who just wanted to confirm that this webinar is being recorded. It is indeed. We'll be sending links to the recording to everyone who participated so that you can share it with colleagues. Also, a question was asked about a special coupon for a promotion. And everyone, again, who has participated in this webinar, you are eligible for a special promotion, which is 1 month subscription for free, should you choose to purchase DataSelf for your organization by the end of this year. Now, if there are any questions, please do type them into the chat box, and we'll do our best to answer them. And Joni, I actually do have a question of my own that I'd like to pose to you, which is based upon everything that you showed us, very powerful, comprehensive, flexible. And we also talked about getting a customer to try it out. How long would it take to get DataSelf to a functional perspective so that the clients on this call can try it out for themselves? Because it looks like something that would take weeks or at least a lot of days to get set up to a functional environment.
Yep, and just one clarification, the promo of the 1 month free is for the advanced and pro editions. It does not apply to the enterprise edition, which is the high end. Anyhow, good question, Don. Typically for Acumatica, if you're using the Acumatica SaaS, the cloud-based, the actual effort that it will take you to get DataSelf to be deployed is under half an hour. Primarily, you have to give DataSelf a user credentials, and sometimes it's even the guest user, I think it's called, with reading rights from your old data version 4, and that's it. Once you create the user, give us access and give us the credentials to access your Acumatica. Pretty much, once the system has extracted your data, and it might take some time for the system to automatically extract your data is going to be live with the raw Acumatica data in DataSelf. So your effort to deploy is usually under half an hour. It might take hours and even days to load your data if you have lots of data. And in practical terms, when you get your DataSelf solution with your data, there's always a phase to test the data. You know, any report or any reporting platform, when you get it for the first time, you got to be sure that the business rules behind the report is matching the way that your Acumatica is capturing your data. So there's usually a phase of hours, days, sometimes weeks that someone will have to be sure the data getting into reports in DataSelf are matching to the penny with yours. In practical terms, I tell people that once we get all the business settled, we deploy your system, usually under half an hour, the system is deployed, the data is loaded, and with the QA process, usually in a week or two, the out-of-the-box comes alive and we'll have the data matching with your system.
Thanks, Joni. We just received another question from one of our attendees. Do you have predefined data warehouse as part of your solution? How do you populate the data warehouse from client Acumatica instance?
Good question. So yes, part of the solution in DataSelf is a SQL Server data warehouse that can be cloud-based in our cloud, can be in your cloud, can be on premises. So yes, we have a data warehouse somewhere of your choosing where it should be hosted. And the way we extract the data from your Acumatica into the data warehouse is using our ETL plus technology. If your Acumatica is in a SaaS model, then we use OData. And we have very efficient ways to extract OData from Acumatica into SQL. Many clients actually use just that. They got Acumatica data into SQL, and then they do reporting out of, let's say, Excel, simply. If you do have your Acumatica on premises, where you have access to SQL or private cloud, we can also extract directly from your Acumatica SQL into another SQL data warehouse. So I know it's a little bit of technical explanation, but we have very efficient ways to get your raw Acumatica data into a SQL data warehouse. Plus, in our data warehouse, we have lots of data manipulation pre-configured out of the box, AP, AR, GL, data aggregations, and linking, so you don't have to start your data warehouse from scratch. You start with a very well-mature framework to get your BI rolling.
Excellent. Thanks, Joni. I think that's all we have time for. I don't see any additional questions coming in through chat. So on behalf of Joni Girardi and myself, I'm Don Farber with DataSelf. Thank you very much for your time and interest in the DataSelf analytics solution. We'll be following up with you via email. And if you have any questions, do feel free to contact us. We very much look forward to working with you. And again, thanks for your time and interest. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you all, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye.